Okay, so let's get into it today on another Joshua Thompson rants. I know that a lot of people are talking about the Russia thing going on around the world right now, and I will talk on that because I think that a lot of people are short sighted on what's actually going on. But firstly, it's like everyone covered a Hurricane Ian for like a day, and then they just moved on as if it's not important anymore because there's other world events going on. Hundreds of people presumably have lost their lives due to this hurricane. And North America, we just narrowly avoided a huge disaster. There's a fertilizer plant over in it's north of where the hurricane hit, closer to Tampa, and they didn't take the full brunt of the hurricane, but they produce 50% of the fertilizer for North America. So that's the United States and Canada, and it almost got taken out, but luckily damages aren't that bad, and this isn't peak fertilizer season, so it looks like we're going to be okay there. But I can't even begin to describe to you how horrific this would have been if that plant would have been shut down. Fertilizer prices have already tripled. Food prices have already gone up, in some cases through the roof. This would have just made the problems maybe not unfathomable, but very bad. We narrowly escaped that. And I would also assume that the price of orange juice is going to be going up because of this. I also, pray for our brothers and sisters over in South Carolina right now. Although it's not as strong as it was when it hit Florida, it's still a hurricane. It's still going to, tear some roofs off on the coast, flood some houses, and make some people homeless. So keep those people in your prayers and in your hearts, and hopefully they can make it through it. And really hope that the insurance companies don't run out of money, because that has happened in the past for some storms, for certain situations. If they haven't allocated enough money for certain things, for certain disasters, they can just come back and be like, we're out. We don't have any more money. Sorry. I guess the government could probably bail them out, like they bail out everybody who makes bad decisions in big business. But yeah, let's pray for those folks down there. It's gonna be a long one for them. Pretty long. It's going to be probably a year before things go back to normal down there. And then moving along to the next topic that I need to talk about, which is social credit. It's coming. I've been talking about this on my main channel. So if you're new here, folks, and you don't know about my other channel is Joshua Thompson. Just take the rants off, and it's all about money, the stock market, and all that. CBDC, central bank digital currencies. It's coming, folks. We've been talking about this for a long time. They can overnight make paper money worthless, but they can't do that to gold and silver. That is one of the main factors why I tell people, do not buy paper gold and silver. It will be going down. The price of physical gold and silver will be going down, at least in the intermediate future, short to midterm, in the time span, because the stock market's going to crash, and when it does that, it brings valuations of everything else down. But we know they're going to be releasing FedNow in July of next year, which FedNow is essentially taking over the interbank operating system. So PayPal, ACH, all those companies right now, that they're the ones that do the transfers in between the banks back and forth thousands and millions of times a day. The Federal Reserve is going to start doing that. And then they're going to use that groundwork to release the central bank digital currency. We'll just call it FedCoin. And it's going to be mandated in the future, I believe, by at least 2024. You'll have to download an app on your phone, and it'll be just like any other crypto. You store your money on your phone. And the only way for the Fed to really control it, to stop inflation, because since the Fed will be the one printing the money, it means that it doesn't increase debt when the money comes into existence. Therefore, you get inflation. It's actually the definition of inflation. And so the only way they can stop that is to put controls on it. Well, who do you put controls on? Well, who's been good people? There's your social credit score. All right, we've already seen this with ESG and everything else, but this is coming. And this is more of a threat than what I'm going to talk about with Russia. This is way more of a threat. This is domestic. Now, I've said time and time again, I don't really care about the war over there. It's not my concern. I don't care who comes out victorious one way or another. Intrinsically, I would want to root for the people that got attacked, because If my homeland got attacked, I would fight. But again, I don't like the liberal globalists that are doing their thing over there. When this could have been negotiated into a peace months ago. This FedNow and social credit score should be way more concerning to you than anything else. The easiest way to whip people into following everything you say is to take 100% complete control of their money. People will literally do anything. CSRQ, anyone? Now, moving on to the Russia thing. I know it is extremely, it's a hot topic to kind of talk about one side or the other, because the left in this country and the right in this country has seriously dug their claws in very deep on their stance. And it's unfortunate that the conservatives in this country, more of them side with Russia because they think that, oh, well, the liberal globalists are backing Ukraine. I need to back Russia. Russia is not a good guy here. The things that Vladimir Putin are doing now is the exact same things that Adolf Hitler did in the run-up to World War II. So if any of you don't know, World War II is like one of my favorite pastime things to study. I love it. And before Hitler started invading, he started doing exactly what Russia is doing now, annexing. Okay. First, he remilitarized a zone of Germany that was demilitarized after the war, and it was occupied by French troops. Next, he went and annexed Austria, and then this is when Neville Chamberlain came down and said, you know, they made peace with Hitler, no war in our time, and they agreed to let Hitler go into Czechoslovakia and take over the Sudetenland, which was a border region around Czechoslovakia that was ethnic German. And then, of course, when they went in there, they just took over the whole country peacefully. There was some skirmishes and battles, but for the most part, they just took it over. And then they only went to war to fight when they had to. Well, we're seeing similar things happen now. And if you listen to Putin's speech from today, he didn't even really talk about Ukraine. It was all about the West, the West, the West, the West, the West. The West is doing this. The West is doing that. They're demonic. They're satanic. And yes, there's going to be some things that he says that I agree with. There's a lot of social issues that are going on in America right now that I don't like and don't agree with. But just because I don't like what's going on here in certain circumstances does not make Vladimir Putin a good person. Now, I understand militaristically why he's doing some of the things that he's doing. I understand NATO pushing to the east. I understand the whole mountain range with Moldova, and he's trying to protect his underbelly. I get all that stuff. But it does not make him a good guy. Warmongers are going to war. It's just the way of the world. This does push us closer to World War III. And you may have heard this, and this may be, you may feel like as if this is overstated. But it does appear as if both sides are not backing down. And now that Ukraine has submitted for membership in NATO, if NATO accepts this, it could instantly trigger a Article 5, which would, it just means two nuclear powers are going to go to war with each other. And the other side of this is catastrophic. Obviously, regardless of which side that you support, you do not want America and Russia going to war in open conflict with nuclear weapons. This is quite literally the end of the human race if that happens. Maybe if you're in South America, you might be okay, but it's still going to throw a lot of us in the world back into the Stone Ages. So, again, regardless of what side you think you support or want to support or wish to support, we should all vehemently be opposed to letting this happen. Somebody somewhere needs to just seriously let cooler heads prevail and come to some kind of peace treaty, regardless of how unfavorable it may be for one side or the other. That's why there's always concessions. Someone's always going to lose somewhere. Someone's always going to gain somewhere. It's just the way of the world. Even if Russia ends up with half of Ukraine, that's better than nuclear devastation. We are closer now than we ever were. I don't care about the Cuban Missile Crisis anymore. We are way closer now. Way, way, way closer now. And a lot of people that are alive today don't even... Hell, a lot of people that are alive today wasn't even alive for 9/11. So obviously they don't know what it was like to grow up in the era where everybody was always afraid of nukes. I was born towards the end of it. So I only remember bits and pieces of it. But still, you people, I don't know. I'm seeing too much saber rattling going on, obviously online, in real life. I don't understand people that just want war. But this is why the 80-year cycle works. This is why you have the American Revolution, then the Civil War, then World War I, World War II, and then now what we're going into. It's because the old generations die off, and everybody that knew how devastating and how bad war is, they're all dead and gone. So there's no one to stop the new dumb generations from going to war. They think it's a good idea. They want to back their side. They think their side's right. Let me virtue signal to the world and prove to everybody how right we are by killing 1 million people. Well, I fear this might be the beginning. And it's a total, complete takeover of the financial system, our food supplies, our water supplies in a lot of places. We might have won the battle during the American Revolution for freedom, but we lost the fucking war. I feel ashamed. Not only for me, but I feel ashamed. I'm ashamed by my grandparents and great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents who did nothing to stop this from happening. But we're here. And now the responsibility falls on us to stop this shit. Get vocal. Get loud. Make change. I love each and every one of you. I'll see you in the next video.